Alpine Touch has been a staple of Montana for nearly 8 decades. Folks around the Treasure State have been putting Alpine Touch's world-famous all-purpose seasoning on their steaks and burgers for longer than most of us have been alive. The holidays are coming up. If you want to knock everyone's socks off, be sure to pick up some Alpine Touch Cold Smoke Rub for the best flavor for your Thanksgiving turkey or your Christmas prime rib. Alpine Touch comes in the mail right to your door. Just visit alpinetouch.com. Alpine Touch, Montana's special spice.
Are you ready to tackle your next real estate adventure? Whether you're hunting for your first home or diving into big league land acquisitions, Array Real Estate is in your corner. At Array Real Estate, they are not just a real estate team, they are your agents for life. Array Real Estate's mission? To help you crush your real estate goals one deal at a time. Array Real Estate's roots run deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest as proud alumni of the University of Idaho. With offices in Coeur d'Alene and Seattle, the team is here to give you a legendary real estate experience. Your success isn't just a goal, it's their top priority. Everything from cozy homes to land development to commercial spaces, Array Real Estate has you covered. They are all about making your real estate dreams come true with a dash of Vandal pride. Ready to make a move? Visit ArrayRealEstate.com and join the fun on Instagram at ArrayRE. Let Array Real Estate turn your dreams into wins. Array Real Estate, your go-to team for all things real estate and proud sponsors of Vandals Weekly. Array Real Estate will make real estate magic with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this press conference. I'm going to just go over some procedures real quick. We are really excited about today. We will, after we get through statements by all involved parties, we will open it up to questions from credentialed media members only. There'll be plenty of time for people to catch up with Coach Ford afterwards, but during the press conference, we ask that questions be limited to credentialed media members. If you don't think you are one, then you're probably not one. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to our Director of Athletics, Terry Gawlik.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Before I call up our new head football coach to the podium, I would like to take a moment to thank those individuals that made this important hire a timely, very thorough, and somewhat smooth process. First, President Scott Green for his support for our department and his participation in the hire. Next, our staff and search committee, Tim, Garrett, Chris, and Sean, who have been vital to me in turning this department around. I cannot express enough gratitude to each of them. Also, our campus partners who have worked with us not only on this search, but others to ensure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. We appreciate the partnership so much. Now, to all the Vandals out there, staff in our programs, the community who's so well represented here today, the alumni, and most importantly, our football student athletes. I want to assure you we searched high and low across the region and the country, and we firmly believe that we hired the best candidate to continue the key word, building our football program. Thomas Ford is certainly not new to the program. He was hired as a Vandal assistant coach in 2022 and was instrumental in building the foundation for this football program. He is highly regarded as one of the top recruiters in college football and has significantly improved every program he has been associated with. We look forward to working with Coach Ford. We welcome he, his wife Shannon, his daughter Zoe, and son Kingston back home. Coach Ford, would you come to the podium, please, and have your family over here? That's okay. Coach Green, would you come to the, Coach Green. President Green, would you come to the stage? He's a coach too.
Absolutely.
He is. 100%. So at this time, we'd like to present you as the 37th head football coach for the Vandals, Coach Thomas Ford Jr. All right, I'm going to bring Coach to the podium now, and then we will facilitate with questions with Garrett helping us through the process. Coach, turning it over to you.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome back to the Palouse. I don't know that I could be more fired up to be here. I've got a couple notes here I just want to pull up, but I'm kind of an off-the-sleeve guy in general. First and foremost, there's thank yous, right? I've got a number one, thank my wife, Shannon. She took a chance on me as a 25-year-old guy with, college football hopes, making about $500 a month at Linfield College, and believed in me so much, has pushed me so much to be in the position I am today. So thank you so much, Shannon. I love you. Obviously, my kiddos, Zoe and Kingston, they're my rocks. You see my boy Kingston, he's kind of flashy now, okay, all right? And obviously, I would love to thank Terry Gawlik, Scott Green, for giving me an unbelievable opportunity to continue what we've built. When I talk to people about this job, the one thing they ask, why do you want to go back? Why wouldn't I want to come back? I felt so much a part of this past year's team. I watched every single game I possibly could. You can ask my wife. We had for the playoff game last week, we're at the Nutcracker Ballet. Coach Ford's like this. Right? Because that's how much I care about this program. That's how much I care about the coaches that were here, the players that were here, and that's why my heart will always be a Vandal, and I'm just so elated with the response from Vandal Nation. I could not be more excited, and so Vandal Nation, I certainly want to thank you as well. So, a couple things. I think about that same question, why come back? Well, I just think about my history here, and I want to share that with the group. I started coming to Moscow, I think back in 1997 for summer team camps with Mount Lake Terrace High School, and I just thought, what a cool place. Man, I wish I could be a Vandal. Didn't get a chance to do that in college, but that's okay. In college, however, I did get a chance to come back to the Kibbe Dome. I ran track at Linfield, and we were here every winter for the indoor track meets here. So, 4 years in a row being in the dome, and then, fast forward a couple years, my youngest brother Tracy Ford was a Vandal. I don't know how many games I came to watch him play, and so there's just so many fond memories. And then you just add it to the 2022 and 23 seasons. This place is just, I can't get away from here, right? And I don't want to ever get away from here because it is such a special place to me and my family. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys know that we are planning to stay the course and elevate what has been built here. Okay, special shout out obviously to Jason Eck. Jason did an amazing job here. I was extremely blessed to be a part of his program in 2022 and 2023, but I plan on excelling this thing. Okay, we do not plan on slowing down. This is not a rebuild. Okay, I've taken over 2 other programs in my career, and guys, those were rebuilds. In fact, at Simon Fraser, we might have been below the foundation. Okay, that is not this. Not at all. We have extremely talented young men on this roster, many of which I helped get here, many of which have already told me, Coach, I'm in. We had an amazing Zoom, Wednesday night with the team, and I believe we had about 85 guys on the Zoom. We had some guys that were in the portal, and they're on the fence, and I think a lot of those guys jumped right off that fence, right? And they came right back here to Moscow. So we're really excited to continue to push the envelope. Okay, that's the number one thing for us. When people ask, hey, what do you need to do first? Number one, we are going to retain the roster because I know we have a great roster. We don't need to blow this thing up and go get a bunch of new kids. Not what we want to do here. It's not how we're going to develop this program. That's not what we did in the past. We will not do that now. We are going to retain this roster. We will find out what holes we need to fill, and then we will bring in the right young men to come help fill those holes to get here for spring practice. In terms of our coaching staff, we'll talk about one of those gentlemen that's sitting in the room with us today, but we are going to build an excellent coaching staff. In fact, I don't know if Coach knows this, but we got 9 interviews lined up for tomorrow, from 9 to 5. Okay, so we are going to find the best and the brightest. Obviously, I've got a lot of really good candidates, and there hasn't been any lack of interest. As you guys can imagine, I don't know that I've put my phone down in the last 2 days, but the interest is amazing, and it tells you everything you need to know about this place. People want to come here. People want to be a part of this program. And so we'll put together a staff that's going to be exceptional, and they're going to be a bunch of dynamic recruiters. We need to continue that process, continue bringing the best talent on the West Coast right here to Moscow. Now, my last thing before I open up to questions is I need your help, okay? College football, college athletics in general, the landscape has changed. And you can complain about it, you could not like it, you can think, I don't know, this isn't like it, but it's here. That is the reality of the situation. NIL, transfer portal, that is part of this. Now, it's also why I believe Terry decided that I was the best person to lead the job, because I am fully aware of everything happening, and I have a very good plan to make sure we can have sustained success. So again, I thank you guys so much for welcoming me back to the Palouse. It's unbelievable to be in charge of such a great program, but I will absolutely cherish this privilege, and I will never take it for granted. So thank you so much, and I'd like to open it up for questions.
If you raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question, and we'll bring a mic just so that everybody can hear it, and on our ESPN Plus broadcast as well.
Hi, Glenn Mosley with Idaho Public Radio and Inside the Vandals. If it's not too personal, I wonder if you could share what it was like receiving the phone call and the offer, and what it was like in your house at that moment.
Well, there was a lot of screaming going on. The volume was high. The volume was high. You know, obviously our family was extremely excited. And there was also a sense of calm. You know, when you look at it, because again, I really care about this program. So, you know, when the news of Coach X stepping down happened, in my head immediately I thought, I really hope I get a phone call, because I don't think there's anyone better in the country to take on this responsibility. So there was this feeling of calm where it was like, yeah, let's go to work, right? But obviously I'm extremely excited, and there was very, very many loud screams.
Hi, Coach. Sam Taylor, Lewiston Tribune.
Hey, Sam.
Hey, nice to meet you, and welcome to Moscow. Welcome back to Moscow.
Yeah, you bet.
And so as you saw, players, you know, even before, I mean, just like hours after X's departure, players on Twitter were advocating for you to come. They were telling the fans to send emails to the athletic director. They wanted you here. What does that mean to you that the players that, you know, you helped bring here wanted you back?
Well, I think that part was the most incredible part. Did I love that our fans and our supporters were saying similar things? Yes, but what mattered me to the most was the players. Because at the end of the day, there is no me without them, right? I'm a very service-oriented person, and I truly believe in serving these guys. So hearing them want me back, you know, those guys reaching out to me, Coach, are you interested? Do you want to come back? I think that was probably one of the highest I've ever been in my coaching career, just having that buy-in from players that I know. And, you know, you never know how you stand with them, but I felt like had great relationships with, but getting those texts and phone calls, getting that support, you know, on Twitter and other social media platforms was incredible. You got a good one back there, I could tell.
Andrew Quinn, Creme 2 in Spokane. Coach, welcome back to Moscow. Just as you begin your process of trying to, you know, bring back some of these players who've been in the portal, I know you've already been on a big Zoom, but what does that process kind of look like? I know you've already reached out to some recruits as well, so you're hitting the ground running, but just overall, you know, with all the talent that's now in the portal from this school, what is kind of your process to try and talk to those guys and get them back here?
One big thing for us is we can't worry about who's not here. And so all of the guys have been given kind of a timeline, really kind of after Christmas. If you're still in the transfer portal, then we're assuming that you do not want to come back. And from there, we will continue to build that roster. Obviously, we want every single one of those young men back on this team. But they've got to do what's best for them as well as individuals, and we respect that process too.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up. Oh, yeah.
So will you marry me in your future? Or maybe you do it all over again. Hi, I'm Brian Toon with Jewelry Design Center, inviting you to come see the largest selection of Will You Marry Me in the state of Montana. The brightest diamonds of every shape and size, unique settings built to last, and skilled jewelers on site offering free sizing and maintenance for life, because that's how long we want to be your jeweler. Jewelry Design Center in Missoula, on Brooks, across from the Montana Club.
Coach, Noah Schmick, KHQ, SWX. Wondering, I mean, you're a Seattle guy, you went to Linfield, you got a lot of Northwest connections. Is home base going to be Idaho, Washington, Oregon, trying to recruit guys from there, or how does the recruiting start for you?
If you take a circle and you draw a 200-mile radius around Moscow, it covers Seattle, Boise, and Portland. So that is unbelievable amount of talent in those 3 states alone. So we are absolutely going to make our living in the Northwest. And it's another kind of part of this process that we built together as a staff when Coach Eck was here, was owning the state of Idaho, owning the Northwest. You know, the Seattle area has 4 million people, and there's a ton of good football players in that region. And so again, we want to definitely make that our home, but we're going to definitely keep our inroads in Arizona. I made a strong push there over my time there, have built some unbelievable relationships in that state. The great state of California has always been good to the Vandals. A lot of really great Vandal players came from that state. And then we do want to start getting our claws a little bit into Texas. I've got some very strong ties in Texas, and so I think those will kind of be the states that we focus on, but we're always going to look for the best players in the country. And if anybody that's listening to this broadcast right now is in North Carolina, Wisconsin, wherever you're at, you're a great player, hey, we'll find you, because we want you. You come to camp, you come to our summer camp, and we're going to get you on too.
Hi, Pete Harriman, Spokesman Review.
Hey, Pete.
As you build out your staff, is that going to include strength and conditioning, or are you happy with the existing strength and conditioning staff?
Well, I love the strength and conditioning coach they had at Idaho. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to keep him. I believe that he will be moving on with Coach Eck and his staff, but we will find a dynamic strength and conditioning coach. I've got 3 really good names. Obviously, got to work very closely with Chris in finding that best fit, but I have no doubt that will be one of, if not the most important position we hire on our staff.
Tell us a little bit about Matt and the hire you made and why you chose him to be your OC.
Yeah, so he kind of stole my thunder there, Matt. But I have actually made 2 hires so far in my early time as the head football coach, but the number 1 hire that I needed to make was Matt Linehan as our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. Obviously, Matt and I became very close working together, and it's funny because we joked about it, and I said, man, you're going to be hiring me someday. And he goes, yeah, right, T. Ford, you'll hire me. I guess he was right. I got there first. But Matt has been integral, obviously, to the success over the past 3 years. He's an incredible football mind, and I think that I'm getting him right at the right time. I'm going to get him before everyone in the country tries to steal him. So I'm very excited about Matt Linehan as our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And then the other hire that was a must hire for me was J.D. Johnson as our director of football operations. J.D. is a pillar in the community, and I call him the mayor of Moscow. And so I don't think I could do this without him. Him and I grew to be very close over my time here, kept in touch, obviously, all through this season. So those were my kind of 2 hires. And I swung pretty hard at Stanley Franks as well. But it's just a little bit better situation for him and his family. And obviously, we always want what's best for those people and their families. So be ready, because they'll start rolling out pretty quick. Like I said, we've got a bunch of interviews tomorrow. We're going to finalize that defensive coordinator spot, offensive line spot, and receiver spot tomorrow with some of these candidates that we have. But again, I've got an excellent pool of candidates from people that I've worked with in the past, people that come strongly recommended, and we will interview to make sure we have the best fit.
Can you go into a bit of detail about how you are going to negotiate name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal? How are you going to keep kids here?
Yeah, I think the great part about my experience is that I just came back down from the FBS level, and so I kind of know a little bit more of the ins and outs, the truths and the lies, and I think that we will come up with a very strategic plan to continue to increase our NIL opportunities, increase funding for those opportunities, and continue to raise that bar in that space for sure.
And what do you need? What kind of resources, even in general terms, do you need to carry that plan
I
out?
think what we really need is for our supporters to see the value in it. If they don't see the value in it, it's very hard to continue that process. So what we will continue to do over these next few months is just to show the value of NIL, how it helps retain student athletes, how it helps continue to promote our program here, and then again, continuing to gain more momentum, gain more people that want to help. And again, once you gain a lot of that traction and that momentum, that's when special things start to happen. So I think really coming up with a great plan over these next few months to illustrate the importance and the value of NIL is going to be critical.
As you said, at the FBS level, we saw Oregon State sign one of the top quarterbacks in the country. What did you learn from Oregon State and their NIL approach that might inform, as you were talking about, just your NIL approach here, like strategies and such?
One thing that I loved about the way Coach Bray structured NIL at Oregon State was we were not chasing guys that was the primary reason they wanted to come to Oregon State. At the end of the day, for us, we still have to find the right people that want to be in Moscow, Idaho. And if wanting to be in Moscow, Idaho includes monetary value as a freshman, that's probably not the right fit. Now, the other thing that I thought in our model that was really good is we really weren't into trying to attract freshmen with dollars. I don't think that's the right approach. However, we did an excellent job of rewarding stellar play. When guys did really well or they played exceptionally from where they were a year ago, they were rewarded. And so that's really more of the model that I would like to continue here at Idaho.
Coach, how would you describe kind of your coaching philosophy and maybe how that's similar or different to the one that Coach Eck has instilled here over the last 3 years?
The cool thing is I don't think there's going to be like wholesale changes, because when I came here and Coach Eck told me about his vision, I just kept thinking, did you steal that from me? Like you think the same things. So his view of football, his view of program building is very similar. Now, obviously, there's going to be subtle changes, right? I think there's going to be just differences in myself and how I see the organizational piece, how I build it from the top down. But I think a lot of the stuff that you'll see will be the same. We're going to care about kids. We are going to make sure that they know that we are a safe space for them. We didn't bring them here just to have them play football. We brought them here to get an excellent experience, obviously get a world-class degree, and win a lot of football games in between. So in terms of our philosophies, I don't think a lot's going to change. It's going to be really dependent on what our players can do. We want to create confidence for them, build them up, and really focus on what they're really good at. Because I think if guys play with confidence, guys play really well.
Coach, I know you've been a head coach before, but being an assistant here, being an assistant at Oregon State, what did you learn being an assistant that makes you ready to make this head coaching leap?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I've thought a lot about that. The last time I was a head coach was 2018 and 2019, and I've been at University of Washington, I've obviously been here at Idaho and now Oregon State, and I've really learned a ton in terms of delegation, creating very specific processes, streamlining processes so everyone in your organization, not just your coaches, are all on the same page. So I think what I've really grown from that experience at Simon Fraser is that organizational piece, more of a CEO type than when I was a head coach at Simon Fraser, I was really trying to call plays. That's why I got Matt Linehan to take that off of my plate. And so I think I've really learned how to delegate and be more of a CEO of this program. So I can't wait for the challenge in terms of that part, because that's the fun stuff.
What makes Moscow so special for yourself and your family?
You know, like I said before, I've just spent so much time here over my life. And it always wasn't for the same reason, but for whatever that reason was, I kept coming back. And then obviously the experience I had here as an assistant coach was second to none. You know, we played a lot of games at Oregon State on the road that were not like the Kibbie Dome, right? You know, you play at some of these big stadiums that don't have anybody in them. That's not great, you know, so this atmosphere, the fan support, the community support, and obviously these players are what's going to continue to keep me here, and it's obviously what brought me back.
Coach, I know it's a long way off, but your first game here will be against Washington State.
They don't even have a coach yet.
Yeah, exactly. But just along the lines of that local rivalry and kind of keeping that game going, and I know you guys beat them at Oregon State earlier this season. Just your thoughts on that and just how excited you are to maybe continue that rivalry in the future.
Yeah, you know, this game between the Cougs is always special. You know, there could not be two colleges closer together. So, you know, when I looked at the 2025 schedule and saw that was week 1, I said, let's go, right? That is an opportunity for us to show that not only do we have really talented players here, we have players that can play at that level. And that was another message that I told our guys on the Zoom the other night, was that we have FBS caliber players on this roster, right? And so an opportunity to play an FBS school, an opportunity to prepare to beat an FBS school is something that we'll really live over these next few months. And that countdown clock will start pretty quick. So we're really excited to continue that rivalry. And hopefully they hire a coach soon so I know who we got to beat.
All right. Thank you guys for attending today's press conference. We're going to provide some time for questions for both Coach Ford and Coach Linehan for the individual media members. But afterwards, feel free to stick around and shake Coach Ford's hand. But let's give one more round of applause for Coach Ford.
I need you guys to give a round of applause for you. Hold on. This round of applause is for you guys, because again, this support that I've been shown over these last 48 hours is incredible. I don't know that there's been a head coaching hire in the country that has been shown more support than what has been shown for me. And I will never take that for granted. I will never forget it. So I'm, again, extremely excited, ecstatic to be your head football coach. And I am going to take this thing and we're going to take it to that next level. And I'm so excited to be a part of it. V's up.